The older we get, the more we start dreading the future. And the number one fear that people have, even over finances, is health. Decline. Oh my gosh, I'm in my 50s, and in my 60s, I'm going to start being like her or like him, and I'm going to start having cognitive issues and mental issues and physical issues. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you in this video, that for the overwhelming majority of us, whether or not that happens is a choice. 15 years ago, when I was looking to change my life, I was in my 50s. And as I'm thinking about, well, what do I want to do? How do I want my life to be? Lifestyle, income, all of that stuff. I realized the number one thing is that fear, except I didn't look at it that way. It was that if I don't have my health, none of the rest of that matters. I won't be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I won't be able to live the life that I can. And so I started looking into it. I kind of stepped aside and said, I really got to focus on this health thing. And everything I started reading was almost the complete opposite of what I expected. I learned that we have so much more control over our health, even as we get older, whether it's to mitigate it, or in my case, actually make my health better than it was 15 years ago. That our decline for most of us is negotiable. Well, people say, yeah, but what about our genes, or my mother this, or my father this? Well, all of these studies have come out showing that, our genes are far less often than not responsible. That maybe what we inherited were their habits, not something in our DNA, in our genome. I go into the percentages, but there's so many parameters to determine exactly. But, I've seen it like 25% of the age-related diseases are genetic. Now, again, it depends on a lot of criteria and everything, but you take my point that overwhelmingly, when you're seeing that person you don't want to be like, it's based on the choices that they made. And a lot of them were bad choices. And so I came across the fact that Stanford University's Longevity Center, all of these experts came together and put in this monumental effort to come up with the new life map to account for the 100-year life. Yeah, like for my sons, my young adult sons, that's going to be common. And I thought, well, what good is it to live to 100 if the last 10 or 20 years I'm sick and firm in a nursing home? And I thought, but what good is the last 10 or 20 years of my life if I'm living miserable? But then I started finding the trend, the major trend, that people were living not just longer, but healthy and independent and active and fulfilled longer. That they made that choice. It wasn't just their genes that enabled it. It was because of all the things that they did in their life that enabled it. And, I came across this line somewhere, I wish I could take credit for it, which was, I want to die young at an old age. I want to die young at an old age. I'm thinking, okay, so how do I do that? And so here again, I started diving into all of the research. And first of all, and this also taught me so much, so that's why I'm going to share it with you. So back then, this very famous study by Becca Levy at Yale University, done in 2002. They followed 660 people that were over the age of 50 and tracked them for 23 years. Okay, that's substantial. And that the ones that had a positive attitude about aging lived 7.5 years longer than those people who didn't. Now, there's a lot to unpack from that. Why did they have a positive attitude about aging? So part of it was the attitude. Part of it is that they had meaningful, fulfilling lives and great relationships. But they also had the will to live, that because they were living this great life, they wanted to take care of themselves. And so they lived longer because of that will to live. Now, she also just came out with another study that, I'm kind of footnoting in here. Levy and Slade, 2026, Yale University. Over 11,000 older adults were tracked for 12 years. and a meaningful share of them improved cognitively and physically, not just held steady. And again, that belief had a part of that. But did you hear that? That these people that were older, their physical existence and their cognitive existence actually improved. And by the way, that was me. Because when I started on that journey, I'm in better health and shape than I was then. You know, I've had since then two different doctors who were also certified in lifestyle medicine, meaning like, what can you do to improve your health, not just take this pill. And they both were like, Paul, you're healthier than patients that I have that are 20 or 25 years younger than you are. And it's not some inherited thing. It's because of the choices they made versus the choices you made. And you are vastly healthier than other people your age. So how do you do this? Well, first of all, let's go over the basics, and then I'm going to give you a very easy to use tool that was exactly what I did that turned my health around and led to what it is now. But first of all, it's doing pretty much what you know you need to do. If I said, how do you get healthy? It's like, well, you eat well and you get exercise and you get good sleep. Right. And there are two more to add to that. But let me break a few things down briefly. So number one, exercise. Two ways that you do that. Aerobic exercises, things to get your heart rate up, get you breathing, whether it's a brisk walk where it's actually a little hard to talk if you're walking with somebody, riding a bike, swimming. As you get older, I don't recommend jogging because it kind of beats up your body, but do what you want. But the second thing, and this was startling to me, was resistance training, lifting weights. You can even do stuff at home. You don't have to necessarily join a gym to do it. But what amazed me is that, well, in first place, strength. In fact, grip strength is now an indicator they use as to how well you're aging, right? Because it's not just the grip strength, but it relates to a whole lot of other things. But yet you want the strength, you want the muscle tone for balance, which is huge as you get older, and also for functional health. For some people, getting out of a chair, let alone going to the grocery store, carrying your groceries in, whatever. But we're talking way beyond that if you really go after it. But what really blew me away was all of the significant impacts physiologically and mentally, brain, that you would never associate with resistance training, because when you're doing it, it triggers all of these interactions in your body and in your brain that make you healthier, younger, so to speak. Okay, the next thing, sleep. Quick study that was done in the UK, Whitehall, tracked nearly 8,000 people in the UK for 25 years and found that sleeping 6 hours or less in your 50s or 60s raised the dementia risk by 22 to 37%. And multiple other studies about quality sleep, going to sleep at the same time every night, setting up yourself for the conditions, all of that. But that, you know, when you sleep and when you have quality sleep, there's actually a cleansing of your brain that gets all the crap out of there that helps lead to dementia and Alzheimer's. Now, here are the two maybe unexpected ones. I already kind of touched on it in the Becca-Levy study. Meaningful life. I'm talking purpose, relevance, fulfillment, satisfaction, having something to do, a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It makes you want to be healthy, and it actually has a positive impact on you. And then the last but not least thing is relationships. It's becoming an epidemic in Western countries, especially in the United States, of people and their loneliness. They lose a spouse. They don't live near their family. They're not close to their kids. A big thing is people leave their professions. And they realize all my relationships were tied to that. I don't have any good friends. So having those relationships is actually shown to help increase your lifespan. Okay, so what do you do? In the first place, like me, you make a choice. You realize that I need to start yesterday in terms of turning things around so that I can die young at an old age. So that however long I live, I'm living the life that I want to do it, and I can do it. I can get out of a chair. I can go do what I want to do. I can pretty much right now do anything I want to do physically. There are some limitations, and also being an active person, I've beaten my body up pretty much. There's always something, but that's okay. I deal with it. So here's what I did. I knew when I had to change, so this is back in my 50s. I wasn't in the best health in the world. Now, I wasn't terrible, but it was bad and it was trending worse. And I wouldn't be here right now if I hadn't turned things around. But I also knew that I wasn't one of those super disciplined people like my older brother is. And that if I tried to, oh, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, I'm only going to eat these foods and none of these foods, it wouldn't have worked for me. And literally lying in bed one morning, I thought, what can I do? How can I get started? And I mean, it was just popped in my head. What's one thing I can do today that's healthy that I don't normally do? And so I did it. It was just one little thing. Sorry, I can't remember exactly what it was. But I'm like, oh, that was easy. I know. I'm going to come up with a list of like 30 things. I'm going to spend the next month every day doing something new that I don't normally do. And some of them were ridiculously simple, but they were healthy steps. They were baby steps. I took baby steps to get healthy. And what happened is that like a week later, I'm like, I'm still doing like three of those things that I started last week. And then it's like, I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel better about me. Hey, this is doable. I got momentum. It became my thing. And all of a sudden, I'm doing my own research and I'm trying stuff out. And yeah, I did start going to the gym regularly and started talking to other people and enjoying it and feeling great when I was walking out of it and all of that. And before you knew it, well, I told you the results of it. So what I've done for you is that down in the description is a link to a PDF download of 101 baby steps that you can take to better health. Now, how many of them you do and which ones you do are up to you. I'm really giving it to you just to get started because before you know it, the same thing's going to happen to you. Wow, I'm actually doing this. Wow, I feel great about myself. I also feel better. And, I think thanks for the list, Paul. I'm going to come up with my own. And, I followed it to the point where I got quite serious about it. So that's how you approach the negotiating table when I say that, how you age and the rate of your decline or the extent of your decline is negotiable. If you want to die young at an old age and go out with living the life even maybe on that last day that you wanted, this is what you do. You realize these things and you take those actions to enable your future to be the complete opposite of the stereotype and instead make it your turn in life to live life on your terms, the healthy way.